Hi there. This time we'll discuss another set of punctuation marks. In this segment, we'll be taking a look at how we can better mark titles of assorted items. Have you ever wondered which one is correct? To use direct quotation marks or just underline or simply italicize? Now, those are the confusions that we will dispel in this episode. Now, let's start with this mindset. We write titles of certain works and items because we want them to stand out in our writing. That's how important they are. Now, to set these off, one way we can do so is by underlining or put them in quotation marks. This time, you may be wondering, so which is which? When do I underline? When do I place inside quotation marks? Quotation marks are used in all writing and printing, but underlining is used only in handwritten and typed work. In printed materials, italics take the place of underlining. So be mindful of the appropriateness of underlining, quoting, and italicizing. One of the major uses of underlining is for titles of long works made up of several parts, such as a novel made up of several chapters. That's the primary function of underlining. Again, it's not how long the title is, it's how long the work is. Another example could be a movie. Underline the titles of long written works and the titles of publications that are published as a single work. Here are some examples. These books are long, so we underline them. Place, long poems, periodicals, newspapers, movies, TV series, radio series, lengthy works of music, paintings, and sculptures. Yes, even non-literary works, titles of such ought to be underlined as well. Because why? They are made up of several parts. As long as it's made up of several parts, assume it's a long work. Movies, radio and TV series. I'm not going to tell you what these are all about, just Google them. Long musical compositions, yes, even the classics are covered by this rule. Record albums, not albums, okay? Albums, not songs. Paintings and sculptures. Even individual air, sea, space, and landcraft ought to be underlined. Sir, what about LRT, MRT? Are they part of this? Okay, LRT and MRT, based on how they're used, first of all, they're acronyms. You don't see them underlined in newspapers simply because they're referred to as common nouns. I just don't know the exact brand name of the landcraft that transport people from one station to another. I think those small cable cars you see on those rails, they may have a certain brand name. I'm just not sure which. But the brand name, okay, is the one that ought to be underlined. If they're really branded. But if they're just LRT, MRT, then just write the acronym, no need to underline. Again, we follow the standard form. Standard meaning it's used by almost everyone. Foreign words not yet accepted into English, like Mazel Tov. Sayonara, Japanese, I'm not sure. Annyeong. Yes, definitely is not yet found in the dictionary. Cai Tian, Chinese. So not yet found in the dictionary too. Paalam, especially Filipino words like paalam, though there are some Filipino words that are already accepted into English, though they're just mere derivatives. They're not really spelled in the Filipino way, like boondocks. Instead of Bundok, it's spelled as Boondocks. Boondocks. You can check the dictionary to confirm it for me. But if you're typewriting, if you're word processing, italicize, mazel tov. Underline numbers, symbols, letters, and words used to name themselves. If you're, let's say, editing a paper and you are referring to the exact symbol 8 and the question mark, underline these symbols. Remember the first R in February. If you're referring to the sign, underline the sign. If you're referring to the thought, disregard the underline. Again, if this were a word process document, simply, yes, italicize. Good. If you want to emphasize certain words, just underline those words. But remember not to overuse the underline because it can be a distraction. Use quotation marks around the titles of short written works. So from underline, we go to quotation marks. We now apply this to shorter works like short stories, one-act plays, short poems, essays, and articles because they contain a less number of parts. Or maybe some of them just have one part only. Short stories, one-act plays, again. So observe how the quotation marks are placed, the spacing. This is mechanics, so we're really meticulous when it comes to small details like spacing, indentation, and of course the symbols used. The spelling, the capitalization as well. Here, you see the proud tower underlined is to signify that the proud tower is the collection where the end of a dream is taken out of. So End of a Dream is one of the works found in the Proud Tower. Use quotation marks around the titles of episodes in a series, songs, and parts of a long musical composition. So each segment of a collection, again, is marked with quotation marks, the double quotation marks. Sometimes long works are part of a pre-existing collection. If that's the case, simply put quotation marks around the work, no matter how long it is. Even if it contains a large number of sections, still it's part of a collection. Mark it with quotation marks. So that's only the principle. If it's part of a collection, use quotation marks. If it's a collection, underline. But if you're typewriting, again, well, if you want to make the distinction, you may use quotation marks. But as for the underlined, italicize. Do not underline, however, or place in quotation marks holy names like the Bible and its books, or other holy scriptures like the Quran. They're sacred, so we don't plaster any other symbol on them. I think that's the psychological reason behind it. Do not underline or place in quotation marks the titles of government charters, even alliances, treaties, etc. It's, I think, a sign of respect. To test your underlining, italicizing, and quoting skills, answer this exercise. So stay tuned for the next episode. Bye bye.